This decorative piece is done using anchor, thread and needle again, and I'll show you in my following videos how to make this motif stepwise. This has a good fan edge finish, as you can see, and this looks very beautiful. It is almost of 6 inches in diameter. To begin with, we have to make a small ring of 13 loops. Wrap the thread around your finger, put the needle inside and go anti-clockwise. Pull the thread again upwards. This will be the first knot. Leave some space, put the needle inside and the bottom part should be wrapped anti-clockwise. Pull the thread. This will be the first loop. Keep some space. Put the needle inside again and go for the second loop. Similarly, we have to make 13 loops in this way to complete the first ring. That is this complete ring. After completing the first ring, the second row will be only chain. Pass through each loops. Placing should be equal and near so that the loops should look equal and nice. This will be the third, fourth loop. As usual, the needle should be inserted. The thread should be wrapped anti-clockwise and pulled. And this round also should be completed as I have shown here. Now come to the end of the second row here, and I'll show you how I am doing it. Pull the needle, thread tightly and hold it here, and this row is complete. And now we have to work on these chains for the third row. That is these knots and a petal, again knots. These knots, petal, again these knots. So this will be the third row. First knot, clockwise direction, and then a loop, and then a knot again in anti-clockwise direction. And also to secure it more tightly, we can put the needle inside the loop. First loop, put the thread around the needle, and pull it tightly. And this process should be continued till the end. This will be the third row. I'll have to add a new thread here now. I'll show you how to add the new thread. Keep the new thread behind, put the needle inside, and as usual, back part of the thread should be wrapped anti-clockwise and pulled. Now once again you can insert the needle in the same hole. And this thread should be pulled from here to secure it more tightly. Now these two threads can be cut with a scissor. And we can continue working. the needle inside. Back part of the thread should go anti-clockwise. Pull the thread, put the first knot next in the chain in clockwise direction, and the next should be a loop. Similarly, you have to repeat till the starting point. Doing the 13th petal of the third row, first knot and then a petal, and then another knot, so this is completed. Third row is completed, and we'll go for the fourth row. This is the third row, and now we have to go for the fourth row, and this will be only chain first and then with followed by knots and petals. I'll show you how to do this. We'll go for the fourth row now. You can jump directly. You can place a knot here to secure it more tightly. And then we'll proceed with chain. Put the needle inside, the thread always on top, back side will be wrapped anti-clockwise, and the thread will be pulled. This is first one, first knot, leave a space, go to the second leaf, pull the thread and place another knot, go to the third one, keep spaces equal so that in the next row we'll go with 2 knots and a petal over it. Now the third petal is done. I'm doing the fourth one, and see the distance that I'm keeping, it should be equal so that it should look nice and tidy, and this will be done all over till here. Fourth row is completed, and I'm showing you the fifth row, which will be 2 knots, 2 petals, and then 2 knots all over. This is the first knot. Put the needle inside, wrap it anti-clockwise. Second knot is over, and now 2 petals. First petal, pull the thread tightly. Second petal, see that the petals are all equal, and then 2 knots. I'm at the end of the 5th row with 2 knots and 2 petals. Second knot and a petal. One more petal. And a knot. First knot, second knot, and this is the end part. This row is completed and I've secured it tightly now. Now going to the third next row. Let me show you. This row will be again only chain, that is this chain. Sixth row, and after this we'll have to go with 2 knots and 3 petals. 2 knots and 3 petals. 2 knots and 3 petals. This row will be completed, that is 1, 2, 3 petals. Put the needle inside, leaving a bit of small space. Put the thread around in anti-clockwise direction. Pull the thread and leave some gap now. This is the long chain, and hold for the next. Put in the next petal. Put one more knot. And this is how you will have to go around all the way. My thread is also completed here. I'll have to add a new thread again for this chain. To place a new thread, put the needle inside, keeping the thread behind, and put a knot here. Hold this and put a knot here, and this will secure tightly. Now put one more knot. Bring the needle from inside. Hold this thread, both the threads, put a knot, pull it slowly, and place this thread from inside as I'm showing it here, and pull the thread, keeping this thread here, and the knot is secured. Now let me cut these 2 threads. And we'll continue with the rest. complete this row. Put the needle inside. This thread is always on top and the bottom part should be wrapped anti-clockwise and pulled. Make a knot, and now since there's a gap here, you will have to leave the thread also. Put a knot, single knot. Keep the spaces equal so that it will be as shown. You have to come till here. Complete this row completely. Sixth row is completed and the seventh row will be of 3 petals and knots. Now first we'll start with this portion. Put the needle inside, go clockwise, wrap the thread clockwise and pull it, and now put one knot here, anti-clockwise, and now one more knot here. Put it inside the petal, previous petal, go in clockwise direction and pull the thread. It will secure firmly. If there is a gap, you can always correct it. Now in this gap you will have to put 2 knots and 3 petals. First knot, and then second knot, put a petal. This thread is always on top and the back thread should go in clockwise anti-clockwise direction, and pull the thread. One, this will be the second petal, and third petal, and put 2 more knots. First knot, second knot, and this portion is completed. Now we'll go here. Only one knot we'll have to put it in clockwise direction and pull. In this portion there's only one knot. put 2 knots in this chain. Now 2 petals, 3 petals, sorry. 1, 2, and this, if this is big, you can always correct it. Open the knot and make it a little shorter while pulling. This is the third knot. And 2 knots again. And you'll have to continue till you reach the starting point. I'm at the end of 7th row. I'll be doing 2 knots and 3 leaves. We'll complete this and then go for the next row, that is 8th row. 2 knots and 3 petals. First petal, second petal, and third petal, followed by 2 knots, and this row is completed. One, two. So this will be the completed portion. Now we'll go for this row. I have to do this chain first, which I'll be showing you. Let me come to this portion. I'll just wrap the thread around so that it will not look awkward when we go for the next row. And now I shall begin from here. For the first 3 petals, put a knot, hold it, then go for the second one. This will be the chain, 8th row chain. And now since there's a gap here, we'll jump to this portion. Then come over here, next one, Again next one, put the thread in front of the needle as usual, take the back thread and wrap it anti-clockwise, pull it and then come here again. This is easy. You have to come till the starting point. This is what you have to do for the 8th row, and then we'll go with petals for the 9th row. With the 8th row, that is only chain in all these 3 leaves. We have to place knots in each of these 3 leaves. Keep a bit of gap and place a knot here. First knot, and then go to the next leaf, put another knot, and then next go to the next leaf, put another knot. All the 3 leaves should be secured with knots, and then leave a bit of space and put another knot in the next 3 leaves. 1. As usual, the needle should be inserted inside the petal and back part should be wrapped anti-clockwise and the thread should be pulled. Then go to the next petal and put another knot. Leave some gap, put the needle inside, wrap the thread anti-clockwise, pull it, and see that the gap also should be equal. That is, length of the chain should be equal, so that the flowers should hold in place neatly, and this process should be continued completely. I'll show you some more. First knot, second knot, and then third. Leave a bit of space and then put another knot here in the next 3 leaves, followed by chain. First, second, third, and this process should be continued till you reach the starting point. That is, this row will be completed, and then we'll go with the next row. I'm already halfway through the 8th row, and this 8th row will be of only chain and securing the previous leaves. First knot, second knot, third knot, and we have to leave a bit of space for the chain, this chain, and then go for the next 3 leaves. Secure it with knots. First knot, again needle should be inserted. This thread should always be on top and the back part should be wrapped anti-clockwise and pulled to place the knot. Then go for the next one. Then we'll move to the next 3 petals, making the chain. Leave some space for the chain. And this should go over till the end, and then we'll come back with this row, that is chain, this row, that is chain and leaves again. This complete row. Now I'm at the end of this previous row. Let me finish this and then go for the next row. I'll place a knot here. And this is done. And now I have to work for this row completely. I have to place 2 petals here. First petal, then I'll put in the center of this previous petal, insert the needle and lock it here. And then do one more leaf or petal, whatever it is, in the next space. And then put the needle inside as shown here. And place a knot so that there are no gaps and it will look neat also. Now in this chain we have to put 2 knots and 3 petals. 2 knots, 1 knot, 2 knot, and 3 petals. First petal, put the needle inside, wrap the thread anti-clockwise, second petal, third one, sorry, third one, and then place 2 more knots. We have to put 2 more petals here in this previous 3. Between these previous 3 leaves, this will be the first one. And secure between these leaves as I'm showing. Put 1 more leaf. Then place the needle in center and pull it up. Secure it tightly. In this way you have to continue with 3 petals and 2 petals, again 3 petals and 2 petals, 3 petals and then 2 petals, 3 petals, 2 petals till this row is completed. We have to work through this chain with 2 knots and 3 petals. First knot, this will be the second, and then 3 leaves, one, two, three, and pull these so that the lengths will be equal. Put 2 more knots, 1, 2, and then secure in between these, going clockwise. And now 2 knots we have to place in this portion. First knot, and then put the needle inside the previous leaf to secure it. And then we'll put 1 more leaf here. now securing this portion, and on that chain we are going with 2 knots and 3 petals. Now here 2 knots and 3 petals again. First knot, second knot, and then a petal, second petal, I'm almost at the end of my thread now. Here there should be one more leaf, 3 petals, again 2 knots as shown here, 3 petals, 2 petals, 3 petals, 2 petals, 3 petals, and then 2 petals here, 3 petals, 2 petals, 3, 2. In this way we have to complete the full row. 9 rows are completed and the 10th row will be done with honeycomb. We have to go for 5 lines. Continuously we have to work one after the other, 5 lines till we reach here for the honeycomb design. Let me start. Put the needle inside. This thread is at back. Put the needle inside. Place a knot. Go for the second petal, next petal. All petals are to be done like this, leaving a bit of space, and here also. Now we are coming to the next petal. Distance should be equal, all the spaces. Put the needle inside. This thread is always on top. Back part should be wrapped anti-clockwise. Thread should be pulled. Leave a bit of gap. Go for the next petal. Keep the thread always in front, and this will be wrapped anti-clockwise. This is how this will be continued. You can see I'm putting this at equal distances. All this should be done. I'll show you some more. And next, when you're coming after this row, you have to place knots in center of this chain. One knot will be placed here and the next will be placed in center. You have to hold it, pull the thread so that honeycombs are all in equal distances, and pattern will be formed in this way. I'll show you how to go over the previous chain for the honeycomb. I'm almost at the end of this chain. Now in this chain we have to place knot in the center. This is put the needle inside, wrap the thread anti-clockwise, and when you're pulling it, pull it at the center so that the knot will be formed at the center, and this leaf should be pulled a little up. Next will be here. Again in the center of this chain, pull this a little up and pull the thread. See how it is formed. And again in this center, next one, put the needle inside, the knot should be placed here again, pull the thread tightly, and then go for the next chain. I'm going slowly just to show you how this will be formed. You can pull it also upwards. In this way we have to do 5 rounds. This way we have to go for 5 rounds, and then I will show you how to do this last round. I have completed the beehives 5 rows simultaneously and going for this portion, chain and then 3 beehives, again a chain and then 3 beehives. This is how I am doing. Chain, skipping one chain, first beehive, second beehive, third beehive, Now skip one chain beehive from the previous one and go for the next, leaving a bit of gap for this portion, and then again 3, now this row will be the same, 1, 2 and 3, then skip, then do 3 more next to each other, two, 1, and the knot should be placed in center of the previous chains as I had shown you earlier, keeping spaces also equal and holding it correctly in center and pulling the thread, 1, 2, 3. And skip, and go for the next, and this is how it looks. 3, 3, skipping 1, 3, skipping 1, 3, skip, 3, skip. This is how you have to do. And when you reach at the end, and if there are 3 or 2, when you reach the end, 3 beehives, and then you have to skip, or if there are 4 beehives and you have to skip, you can reduce these 4 beehives to 3 and then skip. Or if there are only 2 beehives between 2 chains, linear chains, you will have to create one more beehive and then do. You have to adjust, you have to take a judgment, adjust and see that this row will consist of 3 beehives and 1 you have to skip, again 3 beehives and 1 you have to skip equally, so that it will look exactly as I have shown here. This you will have to work with this, and you will have to reach the starting point. Complete this row. See, this is how I am holding, putting the needle in front, center of this. This is how you have to continue. Continuing from the previous row, now I am going to work on this long chain. Put the needle inside, put a knot, and now work for these 3 petals. Put these 3 petals, one, two, and 3 petals, I should have pulled this previous one nicely. Now it's looking good. Okay. Now on these 3 previous beehives we have to put 3 knots, 1, 2 knots I think, 1, 2 and 3, and from here I am going to jump to this chain, lengthy chain, place a knot here and then 3 petals, three petals, and we are going to jump to this next previous rows. Place a knot in the center, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to jump to this lengthy one, 3 petals, three petals, and you're going to jump as usual to the next. You have to continue in this way. Till you come back to the starting point. This row is completed, and the last row will be only chain as I've shown here, and over that we'll have to place knots. That is, in the next round we'll have to place knots to give it a good finish. Now let me show you. Put the needle inside the first leaf, pull a knot, place a knot, then go for the next leaf, put another knot, then go for the next leaf, put another knot, and now we are going to leave this and put a knot in this next one. And I'll jump over here next one to make a small beehive, a single beehive here, and now you can see this portion looks like a small mountain type. And now from here I'm going to jump directly to this leaf. And go for the next petal, place a knot, and now this also. And if this is turned in this way, you'll have to straighten it. Insert the needle, wrap the thread, back thread anti-clockwise and pull it. And now leave this and go for the next one. And put a small beehive here. And leave this and come for this petal. Go for the next petal. Go for the next petal again. All these petals should be locked. And now then skip this and come over here, the next one. And place a knot in the next beehive so that it will be formed mountain type. And now from here you are going to jump to these 3 petals, I'm almost at the end of my thread. I'll have to add a new thread and it will take a bit of time. Over this you can put knots. This row will be completed. Complete this row as shown here so that this shape is being formed. Fan shape like shape is being formed. Come till the starting point till here and put only knots in these spaces. 3 knots, 1 knot, 1 knot, and again 3 knots, 1 knot, 3 knots, and this finish will be seen. Completed this motif and I want to finish it with knots everywhere. This is almost of 6 inches in diameter and I want to finish it with fan edge finish like I've shown in the sample piece here. If we don't want to finish it and we want to join some more motifs, similar motifs one after the other, placing side by side, we can leave these as it is so that the joining portion can be done in these portions. Now I'm going to show you how to finish it. I just want a single piece. This will be of 6 inches in diameter and I just want different motifs. I don't want to join them. I'm placing 5 knots. This will be the third. Four, 5 knots, and if there's a gap, place the needle here, not in center of this petal but next to it, keeping the thread always in front and wrapping it in clockwise direction and pulling it so that the gap is covered. And now in this portion I want a single knot. Thread will be wrapped anti-clockwise and I'm placing a knot. Again there's a gap. If you feel there's a gap here, you can come over here, go for the next, put the thread in clockwise direction and pull it tightly so that the gap is not seen, and put one more knot here, wrapping the thread anti-clockwise. This is it. And now in this chain we'll put 5 knots. Again I'm putting the needle inside as shown, and I'm going in clockwise direction, placing a knot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm coming over here again, wrapping the thread in clockwise direction and pulling the thread, and I'm going to place one knot here. Then coming over this chain, next chain again, putting the thread inside, needle inside and wrapping the thread as usual in clockwise direction to secure the spaces and to hold it. I'm going to put 5 knots again here. This time the threads will be wrapped anti-clockwise. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm coming here now to this space. Thread will be wrapped clockwise to secure it, and then I'm putting one knot here and here one knot in the next space, coming over this for the next chain. This process will be repeated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this will be continued till you reach the starting point and finishing this motif.